And that would be able to produce this output right here that was detailed in the comment above. So what we do is we call it in the main method, and then that's what it would print. But what if instead I asked you to print out numbers 1 through any int n that I told you to print? How would you do that? Well, intuitively, you could look at this, and you could say, okay, in order to print out 1 through 5, we just had to say, while I is less than or equal to 5, we want the for loop to keep printing out numbers. So instead of 5, we could write n, right? And that makes sense, because then I will keep running until it hits whatever n is, and it'll keep printing out numbers on each line. So Java is going to freak out when you try to do this. Java is going to say, I have no clue where this n came from, you've never told me about an n. So what if instead we put this int n in the main method above count? Let's just call n7 for now. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because you declare this n equals 7, int n equals 7, before you call the count method. So Java should know what n is. But it doesn't. And this is a problem that's called scope. And Whitaker has a good way of describing what scope is and discussing it. And he'll go more in depth in class, and I'll also go more in depth later in the lesson. But for now, we're just going to, I'll do a brief overview of it. So what scope means is that you can only use this variable after it's declared and inside the curly braces where it's declared. So I couldn't go above this in n declaration and say n equals n plus 4. I couldn't do that because I haven't declared n yet, right? So the same thing goes for count. Count is outside of the curly braces of main. Therefore, n cannot be used inside of count because of its scope. So we need to be able to have a way to pass data in between scopes and pass data into methods. And how we do that is with parameters. This is how we write them, where we have a declared variable inside the parentheses, but we don't give it a value. And that tells the method that, hey, whenever we want to use you, we're going to give you a piece of data to work with called int n. And so this method will now run. But the only thing we have left to do is when we use this method, we have to give it an actual integer to work with. And that will be n.